what's up? It's Richie here with Statifying Football, and this is your Week 5 college football previews. These are the noon games. It should be a little bit shorter than normal, so let's jump into it. Texas Tech taking on Oklahoma. Both teams coming off byes. Possible shootout here, but I think Oklahoma should take it. Texas Tech, their last game was against Arizona. They lost 28-14. Allen Bowman, 307 passing, 1 touchdown, but threw 2 interceptions. They put up 411 yards, but they turned it over twice. Their defense forced 3 turnovers. They gave up 499 yards with 314 of them on the ground. There was Oklahoma's coming off a bye as well, and 2 weeks ago they killed UCLA 48-14. Jalen Hurts, Heisman campaign going. 289 passing, 3 touchdowns, 150 rushing, and a touchdown. 309 rushing yards. Charleston Rambo, 5 catches, 116, 2 touchdowns. Defense had 4 sacks and forced 2 turnovers. Potential shootout, but I think Oklahoma. Northwestern and Wisconsin. Northwestern just lost to Michigan State 31-0. They had 2 quarterbacks combined for 19 of 37 for 126 yards and 3 interceptions. They did run for 139, which was okay, but they had 3 turnovers. And they only had 265 total yards, whereas Wisconsin demolished Michigan 35-14, and it wasn't even that close. They had 359 rushing yards. Jonathan Taylor, he's got a Heisman campaign going. He ran for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns. 143 of that was in the first quarter. And then he had cramps for a little bit, so he missed most of the second quarter, or else it could have been even higher than 203. Their defense forced 4 turnovers, only allowed 299 yards. They did have 9 penalties though, so if there's an upset here, that's one thing that would help Northwestern is if Wisconsin commits a bunch of penalties, but Wisconsin's really strong. Middle Tennessee State taking on Iowa, both coming off byes. Middle Tennessee State, their last game was a 41-18 loss to Duke. Quarterback Asher O'Hara, 201, 2 passing. They did put up 339 yards, but not a whole lot else going on there. Iowa, 2 weeks ago, they beat their rival Iowa State 18-17. They didn't really do a whole lot either based on the score, you can tell, but I mean, I put their kicker down. Keith Duncan, he was 4 for 4 for field goals. They were actually outgained 418 yards to 313. However, Iowa State had 2 turnovers, so that was part of the deal there. Possible upset here, but I think Iowa. Rutgers, Michigan. Rutgers lost 30-16 to Boston College. Arthur Statowski, who last year was terrible, this year he had a good game anyway, filling in for another injured quarterback. 304 passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Running back Raheem Blackshear, who catches the ball a lot. 9 catches, 130, and a touchdown. They did put 380 yards, but they had 2 turnovers and 11 penalties. Michigan is coming off that walloping against Wisconsin. They lost 35-14. Quarterback Shea Patterson was only 14 of 32. 219, 2 touchdowns and a pick, but all that came later in the game. They only had 40 rushing yards. Their defense allowed 487, allowed 359 on the ground, and they turned it over 4 times. I mean, Michigan should beat Rutgers, but Michigan kind of sucks, so it could be another upset here, but I doubt it. Texas A&M against Arkansas. Texas A&M, they were down early to Auburn, 21-3. They kind of fought back, and they lost 28-20, but they were never really in it. Kellen Mond had a good game, 335, 2 touchdowns. Jamon Osman, 8 catches, 111. They only ran for 56 yards. However, they did outgain Auburn, 391 yards to 299. Arkansas lost to San Jose State, 31-24. San Jose sucks state. Nick Starkel started at quarterback for Arkansas. 356, 3 touchdowns, good. 5 interceptions, that pretty much did it. They only ran for 40 yards, or they only ran not 40, but they didn't do much. Mike Woods, 4 catches, 115 and a touchdown. They did put 487 total yards, but their defense allowed, there was 5 interceptions, that San Jose State got, but the defense did give up 503 yards. So San Jose State was moving it without the turnovers. But I got A&M here. All right. 1AA Holy Cross taking on Syracuse. This shouldn't be close. Syracuse beat a really good Western Michigan team. I picked Western Michigan for the mini upset. But Syracuse won 52-33. However, it was only 38-33 in the fourth quarter, and then Syracuse kind of ran away with it. Tommy DeVito, 287, 4 passing touchdowns, plus 85 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Running back Mo Neal, 123 rushing, 2 touchdowns. They ran for 258 as a team. They had 545 total yards. Wide receiver Tristan Jackson, 6 receptions, 141, 2 touchdowns. Their defense had 3 sacks, forced for 4 turnovers, but they gave up 557 yards. Western Michigan is one of the best offenses in the country, period, statistically, in scoring and yards. But they give up way too many. It shouldn't cost them in this game, but maybe in the future. All right, next game, Northern Illinois and Vanderbilt. Northern Illinois, they had a bye. Their last game, they lost 44-8 to Nebraska. There's not a whole lot to say. They did put up 350 yards, but they only had 8 points, and they gave up 525 yards. Whereas Vanderbilt also got blown out this last weekend to LSU. They lost 66-38. Quarterback Riley Neal was only 15 of 31, but 206, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Keyshawn Vaughn ran for 130, 2 touchdowns. They put up 374 yards. But they had 2 turnovers. Their defense did force 2 turnovers. They had a pick 6 and a fumble return for a touchdown. However, they gave up 599 total yards and 6 touchdown passes to LSU quarterback Joe Burrow. I think Vanderbilt should win this one, though. Kansas and TCU. Kansas, they lost a close game against West Virginia, 29-24. Carter Stanley passed for 275, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Andrew Parchment, 5 receptions, 132, 2 touchdowns. Their defense did have 3 sacks, and did outgain West Virginia, actually, 417-394. Whereas TCU got upset by SMU from the American. They lost 41-38. Quarterback Max Dugan for TCU, 16 of 36, which isn't great. 188, not great, but 3 touchdown passes. Darius Anderson went off for 161 and 2 touchdowns. They had 424 total yards, but they had 3 turnovers, which ended up costing them in that 3-point loss. I think I picked Kansas here, but this could be close. Potential shootout, but at least should be close. BYU and Toledo. BYU, they lost 45-19 to UW, to Washington. Not a lot to say. Zach Wilson, 277, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and that's about all they had. They put up 356, but they had 9 penalties, 3 turnovers, and gave up a whole lot. Whereas Toledo had a shootout against Colorado State. It was an awesome game to watch. Toledo won 41-35, where they stopped a Colorado State pass at the 1-yard line at the end with no time left. Mitchell Guandani, not a whole lot passing, 6 of 15, 111, 1 touchdown, but ran for 119 in a touchdown. Running back Bryant Koback ran for 228 and 3 touchdowns. They ran for 436 yards on the ground. However, weirdly enough, they were outgained by Colorado State, 694 to 547, and it did have 10 penalties. This has another potential shootout game. I'm kind of leaning BYU here, but Toledo can put up points in bunches. And I'm actually pretty interested to see what happens with that one. Buffalo taking on Miami of Ohio. Buffalo had a little bit of an upset. They beat Temple 38-22. Running back Jarrett Patterson ran for 133, 2 touchdowns. They ran for 217 as a team. Their defense forced 4 turnovers. They had a pick 6 and only on 31 rushing yards. Whereas Miami of Ohio got demolished by Ohio State. They were up 5-0 at one point and then lost 76-5. Did you need all those points at Ohio State? Miami of Ohio only had 130 total yards and 3 turnovers. I think Buffalo should win. And then you got Central Michigan and Western Michigan. This is a potential shootout. Maybe kind of close. Central Michigan is better this year. They did lose to Miami, but only 17-12. And they were only down 7-2 at halftime. And they had to stop, or Miami had to stop them late in the game to get the ball back to kneel it out. The offense didn't do a whole lot, only 31 rush yards. They did turn over 3 times, and in a 5-point game, that was probably the decisive factor. The defense had 4 sacks. They held Miami to only 51 rushing yards and only held them to 301 total yards. So it was pretty close. They played pretty good defense. Their offense needs to get it going a little bit because they're facing Western Michigan, who's got one of the best offenses in the country. They did lose to Syracuse 52-33, but they were only down 38-33 in the Fourth quarter, John Westing, the quarterback for Western Michigan, 356 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Levante Bellamy, 165 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Wide receiver Giovanni Richie, 8 catches, 105 and a touchdown. They put up 557 yards on him, but they turned it over 4 times. Their wide receiver Dwayne Eskridge was hurt. We're not sure if he's going to play. Their defense forced 3 sacks, had 2 turnovers, but they did give up 545 yards. Central Michigan's offense has been a little better this year. Didn't say that by that game against Miami. So again, potential shootout. I'm kind of leaning Western though in this one. And then the last one for the noon games at 12:30, 1AA Delaware taking on Pitt. Pitt is coming off a huge upset against UCF. It's UCF's first regular season loss since 2016, and only their second loss period since the beginning of 2017. They beat them 35-34 on a 4th and 3 play, on a 4th and 3 trick play, is how they won at the end. Quarterback Kenny Pickett, 224, 1 touchdown plus 61 yards. Rushing, they ran from 196. They had 439 total yards. Their defense had 6 sacks, which basically was why they won. They did force 2 turnovers. They blocked a punt for a touchdown. However, they did give up 423 yards total to a pretty good UCF team that was averaging like 604. So the defense played really well and earned that victory. So there's our noon games. Check out my other ones for some Clemson and North Carolina action at 3:30. Like, subscribe, leave comments, everything. Peace.